As we know, sequels aren't always all that. Whether they're obvious money grabs scraping the barrel of originality, or just plain rehashes of the same story we've already seen, Hollywood often has no shame when it comes to their number twos, and much in the same way, they can often be a bit shit. Banking on the big names is usually the safest bet for sequels, but these films are unlikely to have their starlets a second time around. Whether it's good old-fashioned feuds, creative differences, lack of funds, or they just simply can't be arsed. These upcoming movies have shed the skin of their past and will be coming out pink and shiny without their defining home brand actors. Whether it quite hits the heady heights of Bring It On, In It to Win It, or American Pie, The Love Book, we shall soon see. Variety is the spice of life after all. With that in mind, I'm Ash from What Culture, and these are 7 actors who won't be coming back for upcoming sequels. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, done. 7. Arnold Schwarzenegger, The Predator. As much as the film is a soft reboot of the franchise, The Predator is unquestionably within the same continuity as the first 2 Predator films, to the extent that Black sought out original star Arnold Schwarzenegger to reprise his role in a cameo as muscle-bound hero Dutch. However, Arnie turned the offer down, as simply he didn't like it and hoped the part would be bigger. You know what? At least he's honest. And truthfully, as fun as this would have been, the series really doesn't need a pity Arnie, and a fan service cameo for the sake of it could have easily gone either way. You get yourself to that chopper, Arnie. You've done your bit. 6. Colin Farrell, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. It's revealed at the end of the movie that, much like a very similar nightmare I have, Colin Farrell transforms into a particularly slimy Johnny Depp, aka the infamous dark wizard Gellert Grindelwald, who he was in disguise as. Someone come collect Jack Sparrow, he's lost and getting his irrelevancy everywhere. Farrell won't be returning for the sequel, clearly, with Depp transitioning into a full villain role for the next movie. Farrell said it was always written that was it. Maybe the real Graves is buried in a shallow grave and he's going to die of starvation 17 hours after the film ends. Lovely. It feels like a major trade down that we're left with Depp for presumably the next 4 sequels, and it'll be interesting to see if the movies end up pivoting away from Grindelwald eventually because of it. 5. Emilia Clarke, Terminator. Suspiciously luscious eyebrows were raised when Emilia Clarke was initially cast as Sarah Connor for 2015's Terminator Genisys. Granted, few actresses could have lived up to Linda Hamilton's unforgettable portrayal, but Clarke's line readings were, well, awful. Whoever would have suspected that cynically forcing a Game of Thrones star into a movie she was ill-suited for would fail spectacularly? Not me. It's probably a good thing that Clarke isn't involved in the franchise anymore. She didn't enjoy doing it, and fans were not receptive to her portrayal. Plus, her not returning meant the entire mess that was Genisys was basically thrown out with the bathwater. While it'd be daft to have much faith in Terminator being any good, at least it'll be intriguing to see Linda Hamilton back in the iconic role that made her famous. 4. Aaron Taylor Johnson, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Aaron Taylor Johnson played protagonist Ford Brody in 2014's Godzilla reboot, and one of the most complained about aspects of the film was that Ford was the protagonist over his far more interesting father, Joe, played by Bryan Cranston, who instead dies at the end of the first act. If you look up the dictionary entry for film dickery, Godzilla 2014 is right there. Johnson won't be back for next year's sequel though, with the only returning cast members being 2 scientists from the previous film. Whether it was a direct response to the audience's disinterest in Ford, or merely an unrelated desire to take things in a new direction, focusing on a new ensemble led by Vera Farmiga, Kyle Chandler and Millie Bobby Brown definitely feels like the right way to go. I mean that, or resurrecting Cranston. Such a waste! 3. Julie Andrews, Mary Poppins Returns. Though the role of Mary Poppins has understandably been recast for the new movie, Emily Blunt now plays the iconic magical nanny, most fans still expected to see original star Julie Andrews make some sort of cameo appearance in the film. Let's face it, the remix song A Spoonful of Andrews' Liver Salts Helps the Blunt Go Down would have been a fantastic addition, to be fair. However, Andrews confirmed last year that she actually turned down a cameo role, with director Rob Marshall explaining, "Julie was incredibly gracious and we talked about it in a very general way, but she made it clear right up front. She said, I don't want it to be, oh, here comes that Mary Poppins. I don't want that. I really want her to take this and run with it because she will be brilliant." What a lovely woman. The spirit of Mary Poppins lives on forever in her magical, beautiful heart. 2. Shia LaBeouf, Indiana Jones 5. after I released a beautiful rendition of The Longest Cry Ever, which happened to be upon learning another desecration of the true Holy Trinity was to take place in the form of a fifth Indiana Jones movie, the first question that dropped out was, is Shia LaBeouf to be returning as Indy's obnoxious son Mutt Williams? Screenwriter David Cope confirmed last year that no, Mutt nor LaBeouf would be returning for Indiana Jones 5, presumably due to both the negative audience reception to the character in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and LaBeouf straight up trashing the film during its press tour. I mean, that's one way of getting out of it. Probably not the best one though. 1. T.J. Miller, Deadpool 3. T.J. Miller played Deadpool's best pal Weasel in the first 2 Deadpool movies, and it turns out he really did live up to his name in the real world. Go figure. Though his role was hardly substantial, he at least rattled off some good one-liners and fit well with the character's knack for hilariously specific descriptions. Following the litany of legal issues facing Miller as of late, namely sexual assault allegations and drunkenly calling in a bomb scare on an Amtrak train earlier this year, why? Ryan Reynolds confirmed that Miller would not be appearing in the 3rd Deadpool movie, tentatively titled X-Force. I mean, don't be a shitty person and you won't be kicked from your movies, basically. Swap him out for Peter and we're all good.